Well, here we are again, gathering together to discuss. I'm being facetious, to listen to me rant. This is the Midnight Skeptic, and here I am on KPCA.FM worldwide and 103.3 FM locally, meaning Sonoma County, California. And I'm recording this on Friday, the 11th of October. Okay, we only got about 20 days till Halloween, and we've got 25 days until the election. So let's get on with it. The 2024 election is drawing closer. Ooh. The California ballots have been mailed out. I got mine yesterday. And yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Okay, enough of my crooning. Here's my play-in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, as I've said before, in my own small way, and it is small, on YouTube I have 22 subscribers. I'm not going to get rich doing this. The KPCA broadcast, I actually don't know how many people listen in. For a while, a few years ago, I haven't been brought up to date on it yet by station management, but I was the number one talk show. And, most of the airtime for KPCA is music of one sort or another. And I urge all my listeners out there to dial in. You can certainly find whatever genre of music suits your tastes on KPCA. Okay. Like I say, KPCA.FM is available worldwide for those who have smartphones, desktops, laptops, whatever top you want. Okay? And in my own small way, this is a small way, I'm doing my best to denigrate and get rid of, in this country, all Republicans, MAGA heads, conservatives, Christian fundamentalists, and those of that ilk. And it didn't used to be that I would say that I wanted to get rid of all Republicans, just the MAGA head wing of the Republican Party, but they've primarily been taken over by the MAGA heads, the Republican Party I'm talking about. Real, thoughtful, intelligent Republicans and conservatives have long since left the party. And especially the Lincoln Project. I'm very, very proud of them because they're taking an active role in getting rid of the orange sociopathic Bloatbag and his Republican minions. Okay? So that's my goal with even doing this thing. And doing this thing is, well, it's fun for me. And it's also a good stress reliever. And I'm not stressed out all the time, and I don't consider myself to be an angry person. I make fun of myself in this broadcast and don't take myself too seriously, I hope. Um, my cat passed away about almost a year ago now, so I no longer have a cat to pet. And I sip wine, red wine, occasionally. So that's the genesis of my sign off during this play out music. You know, pet your cat, sip your wine, think logically, think rationally, think non faithfully, because faith and facts are at odds almost all the time. Okay. All right. So, my shout outs. Okay. I always start lately with Project Censored and the three dudes that keep it going. Mickey Huff, who is now, I think, back in upstate New York at Ithaca College, which is, I think, the same town that Cornell is in. I don't think they have anything to do with each other, but he's a professor there. It even could be long range. I mean, doing it online, possibly. I don't know for sure, but he and his family, I think, moved back there with him. And he's a communications and communications and history professor back there at Ithaca. Okay? And Nolan Higdon is a history professor down at Cal State East Bay. That's over in Hayward. And Andy Lee Roth is a history professor at UC Santa Cruz. Okay? It's those three that, you know, are responsible for Project Censored as it has evolved. Go to their website and sign up for their monthly newsletter. And if you have a mind to, order their latest book, The State of the Free Press 2024. And the 2025 issue is at the printers. Okay. John Crowley at not Project, but Cafe, Aquas Cafe. And it's a good place to hang out. They have a little outdoor patio and also inside seating. And John Crowley has a budding community of nonprofits and artists, poets, novelists that meet there now and then. And there is coming up, finally, on the 23rd, which is a Wednesday, at 5:30. I can't read my writing. Drinks with Shrinks. They have wine and beer on tap and non-alcoholic this and that. But all of the psychotherapists in Petaluma at least, but probably all over Sonoma County, gather there for a schmooze fest and cocktails. And I'll probably go to this one. I went to the one they had about 5 months ago or so. And I know a few therapists here in town. And I was hoping to see them again just to kind of reconnect and see what they've been up to. But they didn't show up. and but I had some interesting conversations anyway with him. So, therapists, if you're listening, yeah, go to Aquas Cafe on the 23rd, which is a Wednesday, and have a few drinks. I'm not buying, but have some anyway. Okay. Um, okay. The Phoenix Theater, Tom Gaffey, is the, host, godfather, organizer, kind of a therapist himself to alternative teens that hang out there. Okay. And go to their website and find out who's playing on the weekends. It's usually groups that run toward grunge and metal, which if you're into that, well, that's the place to go to hear it. Okay, Tim Conrad was in my class up in Sonora, and he is retired from the Sonoma County Child Protection Services, and he has some stories that we talked about. He didn't mention any names at all, and I wouldn't want him to, but Child Protection Services is a much needed organization, and I think it's in each county, but kids need it, unfortunately. And okay, Art Kuznets and Rabbi Ted, who I met at B'nai Israel here in Petaluma, where was the rabbi. He's retired now. But my wife, who was Jewish, she's passed away now, 2013. She and I would go to some events there and some classes that Rabbi Ted would hold at night. And I learned a fair amount about Judaism that I didn't know before, and some of their rituals, and how Zionism, Israel, and all the things that associated with those things came to be. Okay. And Ralph Scott, a audiobook recorder with all of his voice thespians that he has access to. Okay. And locally, these are just people, friends of mine, some relatives, some just friends, that have said that they occasionally listen in to the Midnight Skeptic. Okay, Dave and brain freeze already. Rosie Takach, up in Sacramento, and then Kevin and Lori in Katati, and over in Sebastopol, Rich and Kathy Berger, and let's see, anybody else in Petaluma? Can't think of anybody. Okay, Dennis and Megan down in Tiburon. Dennis will be starting a new IT job out at San Domenico. This coming Monday will be his first day of work there. All right. San Francisco, Yvonne and Rick. And down in Pacifica. Oh, boy. I need a sip. That'll clear my mind. This is milk, by the way. Stan and Kathy Gustafson. He's a retired city attorney of Daly City. Okay, further down the peninsula, Aunt Jackie and Samantha, her daughter, and her little boy David. And over in Arizona, my brother Brandon and his wife Mina, their daughter Andrea, who's a nurse, and they're both in the Santan Valley area. It's just a little ways to the east of Phoenix. Man, is it hot down there lately. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, Arkansas, Shannon Reed. And over in Florida, oh man, Nelson and Alice Lydell, who live in Sarasota. Oh, they have an apartment in a high rise, which is way above the floodwaters, but I'm not sure that they escaped the wind damage. I hope they did. I will email him or call him in the this weekend. Okay, and on the east coast of Florida, Amelia Beamer, she is associated with Locus magazine, Locus. They review books of the three genres: horror, science fiction, and fantasy. And on YouTube, Amelia will let you know what the titles of the books are for that month. Okay. Raleigh, North Carolina, Dr. David Rubin, who was the world's finest pulmonary doctor, and he retired from that. He actually spent most of his time researching endothelial cells and the types of enzymes that they secrete. Okay? He and I roomed together for about 2 years when we were both living in San Francisco. He was researching up at UC San Francisco, up on Parnassus. And he moved to Chicago. Then he retired from that and went to work for GlaxoSmithKline, where he set up research studies on their new drugs, finding out which ones worked, which ones had side effects that made it not worth it. Okay. And then he is doing his artwork now. Go to davidrubinpainting.com, all one word. And he's up in Chicago still, showing his works at the Lost Artists Collective. Okay? Check him out. He has a rather, bizarre take on reality that he expresses through his artwork. Okay, up to Long Island, Geraldine Goldfinger, best friend of my wife's. Back on the West Coast, the Sonora Gang, Robert Finnegan, Bob Fisher, and his wife Sandy, their kids, Martha and Brad. Darrell Larson was in our high school class, and he was the bronc rider that went on the local rodeo circuit, and he has the broken bones to show for it. Judy May, Lynn Quayle, Kathy Francis, and further on up Highway 108 to Twain Harte, we've got John Gleason and his two daughters, Jennifer and Tiffany. I'm not sure where they are living right now, but Tiffany is a African history specialist, and she speaks, brain freeze. Anyway, it'll pop into my mind too late again. And then last but not least, certainly, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete. And one other person that I might add to the list locally, living in Mill Valley, is Josie Padilla. And I wish her well. And we used to know each other. Well, we still know each other. But we were living in the same apartment complex back in the mid 70s, the 1970s, not the 1870s. I'm not that old. Okay, so here we go. I promised my thousands of listeners and watchers that I would start out always with good news. Okay, a classy lady, Taylor Swift, has donated $5 million to hurricane relief efforts in Florida and the southern states that suffered the hurricanes, Helene and Milton, which made a 1-2 punch in Florida and the southeast states. Good for her. And also, Dolly Parton donated personally out of her own bank account $1 million for hurricane relief, and also her businesses, including the Dollywood. I'm not sure how much of a connection Dollywood has with Dolly Parton, but I think it's a separate financial entity. But anyway, they also donated $1 million. Okay, good for them. We need more classy ladies like them and fewer garbage pail ladies like Bobert and oh geez, the one who said that we can control the weather, or they can control the weather. Damn, what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene. We need fewer of those types. Okay, bad news. The GOP, MAGA heads, conservatives, Republicans are doubling down on their hate campaigns against the trans community. And I'll have a bit more to say about the LGBT community and the trans community specifically in an upcoming show. But right now, I just want to read a little bit from the New York Times. With just 4 weeks until the election, Donald Trump and Republican candidates nationwide are putting transgender issues in the center of their campaigns, tapping into fears about the transgender women and girls in sports, and about taxpayer-funded gender transition in prisons. Since the beginning of August, Republicans have poured more than $65 million into television ads in more than a dozen states on these topics in some of the country's most competitive races. Okay, that's that. Okay, there's a person that I'm going to talk about specifically when I talk about the trans community, and she is, oh hell, oh shoot. I have to underline these articles more about what I'm talking about. Okay, but Republicans rely on fear and hate to win elections. let's not let them get away with it. Come on, people. We've got to vote all Republicans out of office. Um, okay, I'm going to excuse me here for a second. There was a swimmer, Leah Thomas. Okay, I'll briefly describe her, but the girl's name that I'm trying to find is, she's come out against transgender athletes in general, not just older ones. I'll tell you my own opinions on it, but her name, she lost a race to Leah Thomas. And then that just started the swirling descent into republicanisms. Okay. Good news, book recommendation, American Teenager. Okay, the subtitle is How Trans Kids Are Surviving Hate and Finding Joy in a Turbulent Era. Okay, it's written by Nico Lang. He is a journalist who now writes for Vice and had his works published in many other venues. Okay, the book itself, American Teenager, he lets trans kids speak for themselves, non-judgmentally. I'm not sure, but I think he might be trans himself, in which case I'm botching the pronouns, but they are a journalist, just in case he is trans. Okay, the book, I'm kind of reviewing this. I have not read it myself. 7 kids across the U.S. are profiled in this book, and they speak their own stories themselves about what it means to be trans in various areas around the United States. And the ones especially that are in the Republican-controlled states and in the South are the ones that suffered the most. In some cases, the family moved to escape all the problems that their child went through. Okay. Bad and stupid election news. At a rally for the Orange Sociopathic Bloatbag on Tuesday, October 8th, 6 people were wearing T-shirts, quote unquote, auto workers for Trump. Well, the United Auto Workers have endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. A reporter for the Detroit News asked them about their shirts. They admitted they were not auto workers. They were, I don't know, they were promised a free lunch or something if they would sit in the front row right behind Donald Trump. Okay, bad news. Further evidence that the orange sociopathic bloatbag is Vlad Putin's lapdog. He phoned Putin. This is the Orange sociopathic Bloatbag phoned Putin 7 times after he left office on January 20th. Asha Rangappa, an ex-FBI special agent, made note of the orange sociopathic Bloatbag's conversations and that he was having the conversation. She doesn't know exactly what was said, but she is absolutely certain that Putin had the conversations recorded in the Kremlin. And in Bob Woodward's new book called War, he says that the orange sociopathic Bloatbag sent Putin in 2020, when COVID was running rampant, COVID testing machines for Putin's personal use. This was when COVID tests were very precious here in the U.S. Bloomberg reported this on Wednesday, October 9th, that the Kremlin, according to Bloomberg, the Kremlin confirmed this. Back in 2018, when the orange sociopathic Bloatbag and Putin met on July 16th in Helsinki, Finland, they held a joint press conference after their private talk. The orange sociopathic Bloatbag believed Putin's denial that Russia interfered in the U.S. 2016 election, despite all of our intelligence services saying they did. The film of the two of them side by side at this press conference is just sickening. I urge all my listeners and watchers to dredge it up. It's there on YouTube, I believe it was YouTube. But I've seen it. Well, I saw it in person when he did it, when it was being filmed by, I forget whether it was ABC, CBS, or somebody, maybe PBS, that filmed this press conference. Anyway, it was sickening, the fawning admiration that the orange sociopathic Bloatbag had for Putin, who could just barely keep his self-satisfied smile off of his face. The orange sociopathic Bloatbag was clearly subservient to Putin, and Putin could barely keep his self-satisfied smile under control. It's been the orange sociopathic Bloatbag's dream to have a hotel in Moscow or St. Petersburg. He's hoping that Putin will help him with that dream. New topic. I need a sip. Okay. 33 minutes and counting. Can you believe this bad news? Republicans have filed several cases that oppose efforts to limit harassment of election officials and voters casting their ballots. In Arizona, the Arizona Free Enterprise Club, which is a right-wing MAGA club, filed in state court opposing I'm going to have to read this article to you. It's not a long one. Republicans have filed several cases that oppose efforts to limit harassment of election officials or voters casting their ballots. In February, the Arizona Free Enterprise Club, a conservative nonprofit, filed a case in state court, Arizona State Court, opposing new rules that prohibit people from interfering with or harassing voters as they drop off ballots at drop boxes, and from insulting poll workers and voters. The rules would limit people's protected political speech, this group argued. Oh, boy. Republicans want to be able to harass election workers and voters. The fewer people that vote, the better. That's what Republicans want to do. And, any laws that prohibit them from doing that, like standing in front of a ballot drop box with their AK-14s to kind of try to scare away voters, well, they don't want that. We want to be able to intimidate voters. Okay, I'm way off my notes. Okay, good news. 25 Islamic imams and clerics urge the Muslim faithful to defeat the orange sociopathic bloatbag. Quote, knowingly enabling someone like Trump, I hate to say his name, to return to office is a moral and strategic failure. They said all this in a letter to all the Islamic people across the nation here. Okay? Republicans are spreading false news about recovery areas in the states affected by Helene and Milton. One rumor specifically is the town of Chimney Rock in Georgia. Republicans are spreading the false news that the government, they want to bulldoze the town so they can mine rare earth chemicals to make batteries for the EV vehicle industry. Republicans in storm-battered states are torn between the need to curb misinformation and fear of drawing a rebuke from the orange sociopathic bloatbag weeks before this coming election. FEMA did not send its funds to help house migrants. To house migrants. Okay. Good news. The Center for Inquiry, which I admire greatly, they're the umbrella organization for a number of other organizations that rely on evidence, scientific inquiry, reality, and they're located up in Amherst, which is in upstate New York. And they publish the Skeptical Inquirer magazine, which I subscribed to for a long, long time. they uh, cast aspersions on beliefs in like ghosts, psychics, UFOs, Bigfoot, crop circles, uh, on and on and on. And alternative and complementary medicine, things like that. And Science Saves is another organization. I'm not sure whether they're under the umbrella of the Center for Inquiry or not, but they are attempting, this organization called Science Saves, they are attempting to get the governors of all 50 states to designate March 26th, 2025 as Science Appreciation Day. It was on that day in 1953 that Dr. Jonas Salk revealed the successful development of his polio vaccine. Without being too much of a Debbie Downer or too negative, good luck with that, governors. States controlled by Republicans, MAGAs, followers of the orange sociopathic bloatbag, and Christian nationalists will never go for that. Ever since the orange sociopathic bloatbag decided that he wanted to run for president, and he came down his golden escalator in New York, a respectful distance behind his rent-a-wife. Republicans have foisted off on all of us a mistrust of science, a mistrust of the government, the mistrust of expertise in general, and it bleeds over into a generalized mistrust of science. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is running for the stupidest congressman in the legislature, has said that they, and we all know who they are, they control the weather, and they made it destroy a lot of the areas of Appalachia, which is the Republican voter bloc. Okay. Anyway, where was I going with this? Anyway, if you have any influence on your state governors, we don't have to worry about it here in California, but March 26th, 2025, Science Appreciation Day. Let's try to get all the states recognize that day as Science Appreciation Day. Okay, good news. The orange sociopathic bloatbag has once again been overlooked for the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, darn. He wanted that so badly. Instead, this year's Nobel Peace Prize has been given to Nihon Hidankyo, a grassroots Japanese organization of atomic bomb survivors who are trying to achieve a world free of nuclear weapons. I wish them well. Good news. Unite Here. The Union for Hotel Workers is sending members to door knock in Phoenix and the greater Phoenix area down there in Arizona. And they're door knocking for Kamala and Tim. You know, the Republicans, the stupid Republicans, intentionally mispronounce her name is Kamala. It's not. It's Kamala. And I occasionally slip. And I assure you it's not listening to too many Republicans. Okay. Unite Here represents 300,000 workers in the hotel, gaming, restaurant, and transportation industries. I don't know whether they're affiliated with any larger organization, possibly the SEIU, the Service Employees International. And I myself am a good union man. I'm into the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, the UFCW, and the Teamsters Union. I'm receiving a small pension check from both of them. I worked for Safeway for about almost 20 years. So anyway, okay. Stupid bad news. This concerns, yet again, the Virgin Mary appearance and the Vatican having to investigate it. They could just ask me. The Virgin Mary is nonsense. Okay. In June 1981, 6 children between the ages of 10 and 16 claimed that the Virgin Mary had appeared to them on a stony hilltop near the village of Medjugorje, Bosnia and Herzegovina. The children said she had shared messages of peace and prayer with them. How could that be wrong? What does the Vatican need to investigate? Just take the kid's word for it. The visionaries, as the group became known, say that the Virgin has been returning to Medjugorje. Okay, they have a pronunciation here. Medjugorje. Ever since. Their claim has drawn millions of the faithful. Millions of the faithful from around the world, transforming the once tranquil farming villages into a major pilgrimage site. Oh, man, the Catholic faith. Oh, man. From the outset, though, the alleged apparitions have polarized Roman Catholic opinion. Millions of believers say they have found spiritual solace. Look, if you're looking for spiritual solace, get a pet cat and pet it. Okay? Spiritual solace, with dozens of reports of miraculous healings. If something needs to be healed, see a doctor, for God's sakes. Miraculous healings, conversions. I don't know what that means. Convert a Muslim into a Catholic? I don't know what that means. And religious callings. Others dismiss the sightings as a hoax, in part because they have continued so long and occurred with clockwork regularity. After years of commissions, analyses, and placements and pronouncements from the Vatican and local officials, the Vatican issued a document on Thursday This was October 3rd. To conclude a long and complex history that has surrounded the spiritual phenomenon of Medjugorje. No. Oh, man. Faith. God bless. Okay. Here's some faith for you. This comes right out of the Bible. All right. And the Bible is the Word of God. How could it be wrong? Okay. And God endorses genocide. And here's the evidence. Psalms 137, 9. And there's a colon between the 137 and the 9. And it says, "Blessed the one who seizes your children and smashes them against the rock." Children represent future generations and so must be destroyed if the enemy is truly to be eradicated. Ooh, God endorses genocide. Christians, the few that I've really had a relatively deep conversation with, always claim that their religion is a religion of peace. And they will say in so many words that the Old Testament is basically the Jewish Bible and the New Testament is about an all-loving Jesus. Okay, this is the end of the show. Real good news to end the show. Kamala Harris, when she becomes president, will attempt to put her home health care program into effect. A Medicare expansion plan would help adults who are caring for aging parents at home and who are many times also caring for their own children. Child care benefits would also be expanded. And if we don't vote out all Republicans, it's going to be very difficult for Kamala, President Harris, to get such a plan through Congress. So we've got to double down on our efforts to vote out all Republicans, MAGA heads, conservatives, Christian fundamentalists, the whole gang. Here is my play out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. That's the most important part of my play out music, is the admonition to pet your cats and sip some wine. I will be seeing you all again next week, and the election is drawing ever closer. So, okay. Until next week, I'll see you all. Be happy.